Welcome to our program on Kardec Radio.
Hello dear friends, welcome back to Spiritism and the Media here on Kardec Radio. And today I'm bringing back the book Our Daily Bread by the Spirit Emmanuel, channeled by Francisco Cândido Xavier, Chico Xavier. And the number of the lesson today is 74, Bad Conversations. And we are talking again today about gossiping, the topic that I brought here at least 2 or 3 times, but it's always good for us to talk about it, not to gossip, of course, but to understand how we can avoid gossiping and how it can be very harmful to our lives and to lives of the others around us. So in this chapter 74, Bad Conversations, Emmanuel brings a passage from Paul, the first letters to Corinthians, chapter number 15, verse 33. So Paul says, "Do not be misled. Bad conversation corrupts good character." Emmanuel says, "An undignified conversation always leaves traces of inferiority wherever it occurred. An environment of distrust immediately substitutes the climate of serenity. The poison of sick investigations disperses rapidly. After an undignified conversation, there is always less sincerity and less expression of fraternal strength. The phantoms of slander, born in its dishonorable cradles and sleeping to good-intentioned persons intent in the destruction of honest homes. Inferior preoccupations that spy from afar surge, distorting respectable attitudes. Criminal curiosity emerges, appearing where they have not been called, emitting distasteful opinions which induce the listeners into lies and insanities." So here Emmanuel is saying, what are the first consequences of a bad conversation? It is all of this that he's telling here, but the most important, like the first sentence, is always leaves traces of inferiority wherever it occurred. So we know wherever we have better conversations, wherever we have gossiping, wherever we are talking bad about others, or we are bringing topics there. Many times it's not only gossiping, but we can be bringing topics that are not good or not enlightened, that are not helpful to the environment. We know that it's going to leave traces in that place. And it can be today, as we have access to 1,000 or 1,000,000 of different content online or on the TV, on the newspaper, on the radio, or in books. The more variety that we have, you know that as we have too much content, there are always good content and bad ones. And first of all, it's up to us to know and to understand what we're going to search and which one we are going to keep to our own eyes. And the second one, what we're going to put out. So because at the same time that we are listening, we are reading, we are bringing the content to our lives, we are also living the content or spreading the content to others. Even though we may not be producing that, but we may be sharing that. It can be on Twitter, on Facebook, can be on WhatsApp group, or a text message or an email that we send to someone. So let's see, are we bringing those bad conversations, or are we spreading that bad content to others? And why are we doing that? And knowing that we are always leaving traces of inferiority whatever or whenever we do that. Let's see what else Emmanuel says here. Bad conversation corrupts the most dignified thoughts. As a result, worthy conversations suffer everywhere, and unstoppable persecution thus making it crucial for men to guard against their insistent and destructive siege. So let's think about the fake news and real news. We know by many different researchers that the fake news, they spread faster than the real news. And usually, if we have fake news, we have people behind it willing to deceive others or to deceive us. So it can be called a bad conversation. The fake news are bad conversations. So we know that many times, though the bad conversations they spread easier, they have more appealing to our eyes, to our brains. So it's very easy for us to fall into that. But that's why it's very important to us to be aware of what we are choosing when we are receiving that teachings, that readings, or that information. Where are we going to search for the information? What's the information that we are bringing to our own lives? Because if we want to have our lives uplifted, if we want to feel better each day, so why not bring good and uplifting news and information to our own lives, and why not spread it as well? So not spreading gossiping, not spreading some fake news. It's a way for us as well to be useful to society and to help the brothers around us and to help ourselves by creating a good environment to us. Emmanuel also says here, when the heart is bestowed to Jesus, it is very easy to control situations and to eliminate dishonorable words. Always examine the verbal suggestions that surround your daily path. Were you informed of bad news, evil accusations, and futile and malicious information regarding others? Observe our reaction. On every occasion, there are recourses to rectify lovingly, and you can renew all of this material in Jesus Christ. So always having Jesus as our model and example, and see Jesus never spread bad news or bad conversations. We never saw in the gospel Jesus having those talks to the disciples or to any of the ones around him, bringing gossiping or bringing some information that would be bad to their lives. But he was always trying to uplift our lives and the lives of the ones around him. So why not doing that? Why not bringing his example to our lives and try to do that? Try to always bring good conversations. And if we are in an environment where people are having bad conversations, why not try to change that, or at least not to allow us to be connected to that? So at least if we cannot change the others, or we cannot, but we can always keep ourselves from being connected to that, and we know that we are always a good example to others. So by putting what we think is good into practice, the others are always going to learn with that as well. So just to finish here, as I usually do, I'll bring a random passage from the book Happy Life by the Spirit Joana de Angelis, channeled by Divaldo Franco. So number 13, always put your trust in divine help. Should you feel besieged with no way out, help will arrive from God. Never doubt the divine paternity. God watches and helps you, not always as you would like, but in the way that is best for your true happiness. At times, it may seem that divine help will not arrive, or will arrive too late. But afterward, if you waited, you will see that it did arrive a short time before. Thank you so much for your company. May God bless all of us. See you next week.